When the earth shakes beneath our feet, most of us only see it as a natural disaster, something frightening, something physical, something to survive and then forget. But what if it's more than that? What if every earthquake is a message, a wake-up call, a warning that we've stopped paying attention to the deeper truths of existence? You see, we live in an age where people are so distracted by screens, by noise, by endless ambition, that we've forgotten to listen to the silence, to the language of the earth itself. And sometimes when we refuse to listen, the earth raises its voice. The trembling of the ground isn't just rock against rock, fault against fault. It's the universe shaking us by the shoulders, saying, "Wake up." It's as if nature has grown tired of being ignored, tired of the pollution, the violence, the lies we tell ourselves to feel better. And so it groans, it convulses, it sends shockwaves not only through the crust, but through our very consciousness. These aren't coincidences. These quakes happen in places that hold meaning during times of great global tension, moments where humanity teeters on the edge of war, of collapse, of forgetting who we are. It's not about fear. It's about awareness. Every tremor is a mirror showing us how unstable we've become on the inside. We've built towers and machines, but our values have crumbled. We've stretched our reach to the sky, but our roots have withered. And so the earth reminds us, not with words, but with motion, not with speech, but with shaking. We call them disasters, but maybe they're instructions. Maybe they're not here to punish us, but to realign us, to bring us back to balance. Because when the world starts shaking, it forces us to stop, to reflect, to reconsider what really matters. We remember loved ones. We remember our mortality. We remember that we're not invincible, not in control. And maybe that's the point. Maybe in those moments of collapse there is hidden clarity. Maybe the ground must shake for our hearts to awaken. Across time and culture, humanity has looked to the sky, the stars, the earth, and the sacred text to understand the meaning behind natural events. Earthquakes have never been seen as just random shifts in the crust of the planet. They've always held deeper meaning, signs, symbols, prophecies. And what's astonishing is that when we look closely, the ancient prophecies spoken thousands of years ago are aligning with the tremors shaking our modern world today. In scriptures from different civilizations, whether it's the Bible warning of great quakes in diverse places, the Quran mentioning the earth casting out its burdens, or ancient Eastern scrolls foretelling a time when the ground itself will rebel, all these predictions weren't poetic metaphors. They were roadmaps, messages passed down through time to prepare future generations. And now here we are watching the prophecies unfold in the headlines, yet still doubting what's right in front of us. These are not distant fairy tales. These are accurate warnings describing a moment just like this, when humanity reaches a boiling point and nature itself begins to echo that unrest. It's not just one prophecy or one culture. Indigenous wisdom speaks of a time when the earth will shake to cleanse itself. Eastern prophecies speak of cycles, Kali Yuga, the age of darkness marked by chaos and tremors. Mayan calendars pointed to a turning of the age, a moment when the old world starts breaking apart to allow a new one to emerge. And here we are in an age where the ground is literally breaking beneath our feet, yet we refuse to connect the dots. The precision of these ancient messages is haunting. Some even name regions where destruction will strike, or describe seasons of disaster followed by mass awakening. And when modern science starts confirming patterns, unusual activity along fault lines, increased frequency in seismic zones that were long dormant, it starts to feel less like coincidence and more like confirmation. We are living in the overlap of timelines, where ancient prophecy and modern reality meet. The old world, the one driven by greed, technology without wisdom, ambition without soul, is showing its cracks. And those cracks are being mirrored by the earth's own surface. It's almost as if the ground itself is trying to warn us, just as the prophets of old once did. But here's the tragic part. The signs are being shown, but our eyes remain closed. We chase trends, argue over politics, scroll endlessly, and forget that ancient voices warned us this moment would come. They warned that if we lose our connection to the sacred, to nature, to our higher selves, the very earth will remind us, not gently, not quietly, but with force, with urgency. Because prophecy is not just about predicting the future, it's about preparing for it. It's about shifting before the breaking point. And right now, those who can see, truly see, will understand that these earthquakes are not random. They are written, they are reminders, they are revelations. The earth doesn't speak in words, but it responds, it listens, it absorbs, and eventually it reacts. And what we're seeing with these earthquakes, these violent shifts beneath the surface, is not just some natural process playing out in isolation. It's a reflection, a reaction to what we've done, not just to the environment, but to each other, to truth, to the very moral fabric that once held humanity together. We've poisoned the rivers, we've stripped the forests, we've filled the oceans with plastic, and we've covered the skies with smoke. But more than that, we've corrupted our own spirits. Greed, arrogance, violence, deception, these aren't just personal sins. They're collective energies that ripple outward, and the earth, this living, breathing system, feels it. It registers that corruption just like a body feels infection. And like any living being under threat, it starts to convulse, to purge, to defend itself. When the ground shakes, it's not just rocks grinding against each other. It's a release of pressure that has been building over time, not just physically, but energetically. For centuries we've taken without giving back. We've dug into the earth to extract its riches, drilled into its bones for oil, cut into its lungs for timber, dumped our waste into its bloodstreams. And while we do this, we convince ourselves we are progressing, that we're evolving. But at what cost? We have built towering cities while our empathy has crumbled. We have created vast networks of technology while severing the simple human bond with nature. And now the planet is responding, not with words, but with shaking, splitting, and roaring. Every earthquake is like a cry from deep within the earth. It's a scream echoing through the soil saying, enough, enough deception, enough cruelty, enough separation from what's real. And the irony is, for all our advancements, for all our science, wealth, and control, we are helpless when the ground breaks. In those moments, all illusions of dominance vanish. The earth doesn't care about your status, your bank account, your influence. It responds only to truth, to balance, to energy. And when that balance is broken, when corruption festers too long, something gives. You look around and you see it everywhere. Economies collapsing, leaders falling, systems we once trusted showing their cracks. And just like those structures, the earth's crust is cracking too, because the two are linked. Our inner corruption, our collective moral decay eventually finds its way into the outer world. And the ground beneath us becomes unstable, not just geologically, but spiritually. It's all connected. The earth is not just a place we live, it's a reflection of how we live. And when we pollute our hearts, our intentions, our relationships, we're polluting the very soil we stand on. But the earth is not vengeful. It's not punishing us. It's simply reacting. It's trying to restore balance in the only way it knows how. And that balance requires disruption, the kind that makes people stop and look around, the kind that forces us to ask, what are we doing? Because maybe we won't change when we hear truth or when we see injustice or even when we feel guilt, but we might change when everything starts to fall apart. We might finally listen when the earth itself starts shouting, and right now it's shouting louder than ever. When the ground shakes, we think it's only the earth moving, but there's something deeper happening, something most people don't even recognize. Every earthquake is a physical manifestation of an invisible shift. It's not just plates colliding or tectonic pressure releasing. It's a spiritual disturbance. It's as if something in the unseen world is breaking through into ours, disrupting not just buildings and streets, but our very sense of security, of what we believe is permanent and unshakable. And when that shaking begins, it doesn't only crack the earth, it cracks illusions. It exposes the false sense of control we've built our lives around. The systems we trust, the leaders we follow, the beliefs we cling to, all of them are being tested by forces that go far beyond human comprehension. We are living in a time where spiritual turbulence is no longer subtle. You can feel it. People everywhere are restless. There's anxiety in the air, a weight pressing on hearts, a confusion that no technology or distraction can numb. That's not coincidence. It's a sign. It's the spiritual realm pressing closer, forcing us to confront what we've avoided for too long. And the earthquakes, they're part of that pressure. The ground beneath us is reflecting the conflict within us. The more chaotic we become inside, the more unstable the world becomes outside. You can't separate the two. We are not separate from the earth. We are an extension of it, spiritually tied to every tremor and shift. Think about the timing of these quakes. They come when nations are divided, when morality is collapsing, when truth is no longer valued. They don't just destroy, they reveal. They peel back the surface to show us what lies beneath. And often what we find beneath isn't just fault lines in rock, but fault lines in our lives, our cultures, our souls. Old systems are collapsing. The ones built on lies, on greed, on power without purpose, they can't survive this shaking because the energy of the earth no longer supports them. What once stood tall and proud now crumbles in seconds, and it's not just a metaphor, it's reality. And what's being asked of us in these moments isn't just survival, it's transformation. Will we cling to broken ways, or will we finally rise into something higher, something real? But transformation doesn't come without resistance. The shaking hurts. It scares us. It brings loss. And yet in that loss, in that collapse, there's opportunity. The kind of opportunity that can't be taught in a classroom or found on a screen. It's spiritual. It's raw. It forces you to feel again, to care again, to remember what it means to be human. When everything stable begins to shake, you're left with only one thing, your soul. And for many people, that moment of collapse is the first time they really meet themselves. They see the emptiness they've been running from. They see the truth they've ignored. And in that confrontation, there is a doorway. Not everyone walks through it, but it's there. So while the world is busy measuring Richter scales and predicting aftershocks, there's another kind of shift happening, one that machine can measure, the shift of human awareness, the shift of spirit. We're being shaken not just to alert us, but to awaken us. The question is, are we paying attention or are we still hypnotized by the surface? Because if the ground keeps shaking and we still don't look deeper, then maybe the next one won't just shake the buildings, it'll shake the last fragments of illusion we've managed to hold on to. Sometimes it takes a disaster to remind people that they belong to each other. When an earthquake hits, there's a strange clarity that follows in its aftermath. Suddenly, the walls between people seem to fall just as fast as the buildings. You see strangers helping each other, enemies working side by side, and people sacrificing their own comfort to bring relief to someone else. In that moment, something pure surfaces, a raw, undeniable sense of connection. It's tragic that it takes pain to get there, but it's also revealing. It shows us what we're capable of when we drop the masks and the ego. But what if we didn't wait for the ground to split open to find that unity? What if these moments of collapse are actually sacred invitations to rediscover who we really are together? The speaker is not just calling us to be reactive, to come together after the tragedy, but to be proactive, to recognize that the real fault line is in the human heart, that all this division, this hate, this obsession with identity, control, and superiority, it's what weakens us. And when the ground finally does shake, it doesn't care about your race, your religion, your politics, or your wealth. Everyone runs. Everyone feels fear. Everyone is reminded that they are flesh and bone, small beneath the vast sky, utterly dependent on the grace of something far beyond their control. And that realization levels people, not just in status, but in perspective. We are more alike in our vulnerability than we are different in our labels. And in that shared fragility lies the seed of true unity. But here's the truth that cuts deeper. The moment the dust settles, people tend to forget. They return to their corners, rebuild their pride, revive their judgments. And the unity that came through the cracks vanishes like smoke. That's the cycle we need to break. Because we're not just being shaken physically, we're being given a final opportunity to stay awake, to stay aware, to choose unity even when the earth is still. If we only bond in crisis and separate in comfort, then we've learned nothing. Then the pain served no purpose. The call here is not for temporary compassion, but for a permanent shift in consciousness, a realignment of values, a return to what matters most: love, service, truth. We are being invited, not forced, but invited to become a different kind of humanity, one that doesn't wait for walls to fall in order to open its arms, one that sees beyond borders, tribes, and ideologies and recognizes the soul in the other. That kind of unity isn't soft, it's powerful, it's transformative. And it can only happen if we choose to step into it fully, not because the earth is shaking, but because our hearts are. Because we finally realize that separation is the greatest illusion of all, and unity is the only truth that can carry us through the storms to come. And the timing of these events, the frequency, the intensity, they're not just random. They are urging us to move, to rise, to shift from reaction to intention, from fear to purpose, from ego to soul. We don't need another catastrophe to show us who we are. We already know. The question is whether we'll live by it now or keep waiting for another wave of destruction to push us back into each other's arms. It's easy to look at each earthquake as a separate event, just another tragedy, another headline, another region in chaos. But if you step back, if you quiet the noise and look with a deeper lens, you start to see something hidden in plain sight. A P, a turn, a rhythm, a strange, almost deliberate sequence unfolding across the world. It's like the earth isn't just reacting, it's speaking in a coded language. It's easy to look at each earthquake as a separate event, just another tragedy, another headline, another region in chaos. But if you step back, if you quiet the noise and look with a deeper lens, you start to see something hidden in plain sight, a pattern, a rhythm, a strange, almost deliberate sequence unfolding across the world. It's like the earth isn't just reacting, it's speaking in a coded language. These tremors are not random. They are synchronized movements in a larger dance, a countdown that's been set in motion long ago. And the chilling part is that this pattern was spoken about, foretold by people who lived thousands of years ago, people who didn't have seismographs or satellites, but had an intuitive connection to time, to nature, and to the divine. The locations, the timings, the magnitude. It's as if there's a message stitched into every crack and every collapse. Some quakes strike near sacred sites. Some occur on dates that align with ancient prophecies, while others come just after significant global events, as if they're echoing a spiritual response to the chaos unfolding in human affairs. And when you line them up, when you map them, not just geographically but symbolically, you begin to see the outline of something bigger than disaster. It's prophecy, not in the fairy tale sense, but in the sense of cycles fulfilling themselves. The ancients spoke of ages ending not with silence, but with rumblings, earth shaking, oceans rising, fire breaking through the crust. They knew that nature would be the first to speak when humanity drifted too far from its center. And what's most disturbing is that the frequency is accelerating. It's not just one-off events. It's clusters, waves, building like a storm gathering strength. Some places are experiencing quakes after centuries of stillness. Some patterns mimic the pulse of the planet itself, as if Earth is trying to reset something, clear out the corruption that has become embedded not just in the soil but in the systems we built. Economies, governments, ideologies, they're all being shaken at the same time the earth is. That's not coincidence, that's convergence. And those who are paying attention, those who see beyond the surface, understand that we're not just living in uncertain times, we're living in prophesied times. This pattern is a signal. It's telling us that a tipping point is near, that the age we've known, the one defined by dominance, exploitation, and separation, is reaching its breaking point. The earth doesn't just shake to destroy, it shakes to transition, to force what is stagnant to move, to crack open what is hidden, to make space for something new to be born. But that birth won't come easily. It never does, because what we're facing isn't just the end of an era, it's the unveiling of truth that's been buried for too long. And that truth is now rumbling to the surface through every quake, every tremor, every fault line splitting open. We are being shown that time is not linear, it's cyclical. That prophecy isn't fiction, it's a forgotten memory reawakening. And the question is, will we read the signs or keep pretending they're just random? Will we decode the message in time or wait until the final crack swallows the last remnants of what we once called normal? Because whether we acknowledge it or not, the pattern is unfolding. The hidden rhythm of the earth is revealing itself. And only those who are willing to listen, who are brave enough to look beyond fear, will begin to understand what it all truly means